higher, an increase of $13,723. So in total, the pension cost of the capped amount of that increase is 83% of the increase, resulting in an increase of the corporate line of less than $65,000 for next year. The non-capped portion, which consists of debt service of general obligation bonds, limited tax bonds, and the special recreation levy, is projected to be a total of $1,709,956. This is a decrease of 11.03%, or $212,060. The decrease is due to the elimination of the Series 2009 general obligation bonds from the levy. The debt service of that of the Series 2009 concluded in 2024, so will no longer be on the levy. And all debt that is on the levy is authorized by voters by referendum vote. So in total, the village proposed 2024 levy is $8,879,002, and that is an increase of 1.59%, or $139,187. The timing of that, let me also cover the library. Since the Thomas Ford Memorial Library doesn't have the authority to levy a property tax, they are also included on ours. And the library levy request is $2,003,465, which is an increase of 1.64% compared to their previous year. That makes the total levy request of the village and library $10,882,467. The calendar of this going forward is in November. The board will be presented in consideration for approval the estimated tax levy. We will have a tax levy hearing December 2nd with consideration of approval of that December 16th. And following the public hearing for the tax levy will also be a budget hearing on December 2nd.
I don't know if there's any questions. We discussed it quite a bit, but it's a lot to digest. So, was there any questions? We're like looking at each other. We talked about it. Okay, thank you. The second item to report from the Finance Committee is the South TIF expenditure distribution per economic incentive agreement to Hawthorne 45 LLC, Foxford, and budget amendment. I'm going to read the entire memo because I think it really gives a good synopsis of what's happening with the Foxford disbursements. In accordance with resolution number 20-2557, the village has prepared the 7th disbursement and transfer of tax increment financing funds to Hawthorne 45 LLC, formerly known as Foxford Station. The amount to be distributed was calculated by applying 70% to the TIF collections of the 2023 tax levy received year-to-date from tax code 21278. An excerpt of a collection spreadsheet was provided by Cook County, and it lists which parcels have paid and the related calculated increment. Based on the county's reports, tax code 21278 generated $433,603.90. To date, all of the funds have been collected, and the allocation of 70% to Hawthorne 45 LLC is calculated at $303,522.72. To facilitate the disbursement, a budget amendment is needed in the Downtown South TIF Fund. A budget amendment is requested in the amount of $33,525, increasing line item 5201390-59990- developer reimbursement in financial year 2024. The original 2024 budget for this line item was $270,000. The increment came in higher than the assumptions used in the 2024 budget process. This amendment will be offset by increased revenues due to the increased increment of this tax code. The Finance Committee reviewed this item at its meeting held on October 2nd, 2024, and we recommend the disbursement and the budget amendment be advanced to the Village Board of Trustees. Is there any questions? We talked about it also at length. Okay, then if not, that concludes my report.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to general government. Trustee Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Our first item was the amended liquor license request, Class H, and a temporary use permit on behalf of Devonte. Devonte Restaurant has submitted a request to amend the existing Class H license, which is for outdoor liquor cafes, and also their temporary use permit to increase the number of seats within the outdoor dining area from 30 to 69. Since 2013, Devonte has had 30 outdoor seats within the walkway on the north side of the building. During the height of the COVID, those of you who are on the board might remember, we allowed by a disaster proclamation Devonte to operate an outdoor cafe and expand the additional 56 seats into the parking lot. This proclamation has expired, and Devonte is seeking the use of 4 parking spaces inside the previous expansion for outdoor seating. The new proposal's for 39 additional seats and also an accessibility ramp. The Liquor Commission reviewed the application favorably, as did we in our committee. We had some recommendations regarding the proposed accessibility ramp, and the village will have to update the parking lot specifications. This matter should be on the omnibus, would it be in November or October? I'm not sure. You know when we'll see this again on the Devonte?
Looks like November.
Okay, November. Okay.
Kelsey, is that correct? Do you think Heather's planning to bring that back in November with Devonte?
Yes, that would be 11.
Okay. If there's no questions on that, my second item of business is a very interesting new concept business which we may have in the garden market called Hammer and Nails. It is a high-end barbershop and spa for men primarily, although it'll also be women. The idea is that liquor will be served, top-shelf liquor, while the patrons are receiving haircuts, beard trims, manicures, pedicures, what have you. They would receive one drink during the grooming service and the opportunity for another drink on the on-site bar and beverage area, which would be located on the premises. Hammer and Nails, it was really kind of interesting to see the slides, learn about this. They've just inquired about this concept salon, which has taken off apparently in Wheaton and in Naperville. They will need a liquor license, serving liquor on the premises. It came before us with just a thought, an inquiry, come before us at a later date if they have the application. And we did think favorably on the inquiry, because the two-drink maximum for the salon patrons would provide more restrictions than the O license that we already have in place for the Opry. And I believe, if my memory serves, they were also going to serve food there, sandwiches, possibly. Did we discuss that? Was it?
Chips, I think.
Oh, chips,
I
food.
think it'd be light
Okay, light
fare.
snacks. So it'd be nice to have that business over there in the garden market. The next item on the agenda is community service results, which are in and will be presented at the October 28th meeting. The survey had over 1,000 responses, which is extremely high for this type of procedure. The biggest concerns were related to infrastructure, but we found it very encouraging that the great community interest in our work here. We also discussed the LRS agreement. If you all might remember, we've had LRS in place for 4 years. They came in 2020. The agreement we have with LRS is set to expire on December 31st of 2024. Village staff has begun negotiations earlier this year for a renewed contract. We, General Government Committee, we reviewed the preliminary proposed changes to the refuse recycling fee schedule, and staff expects to have a more detailed memo and draft agreement for the board to review in 2 weeks, with possible consideration for it to be approved on November 11th. The staff memo will also include an analysis of the proposed rate changes, a comparison to rate changes in our neighboring communities, and also with the staff recommendation. LRS will be present for any questions that we may have. Our next item, if no one has any questions about that, our next item was we began discussing our fiscal year 2025 administrative budget. We started touching on the main issues, which would be salaries and pay plans. Staff will do a thorough review of the budget for a much greater review later on in November. We also discussed our the Employee Benefit Navigator provided by the Horton Group. This has been so far very successful. You might remember that it's a dashboard where the employees can look up things like open medical enrollment, health quotes, COBRA administrations, and things of that. It's been so far very beneficial. The Horton Group has done a very nice job. We discussed keeping that on because it's been of great benefit to our employees. Finally, we discussed next year's board meetings with the projected schedule in your packet. The format follows the second and fourth Mondays of each month. In May, however, Memorial Day falls on the fourth Monday, so we will go back-to-back on the second and third May Mondays. June, July, and August will continue with our once-monthly combined meetings. In November, the fourth Monday falls during Thanksgiving, and due to a lot of Thanksgiving vacations, it's anticipated we may not have a full quorum. We are thinking of moving the second November meeting to November 17th, the third Monday, so like in May, we'll have back-to-back the second and third weeks. December, we'll have to have our meetings on the first and third week of the month to ensure that the budget and levy process is finished in line for filing before the end of the year. That'll be on the omnibus next couple of weeks. If there's no further questions, that's all I'd have to report.
Okay, anything else? Anyone? Okay, very good, thank you very much. All right, moving on to planning and zoning, trustee Naraki.
Thank you, President Rudolph. I have 3 items on my agenda today. The first one being the McNaughton Development purchase of Timber Trails Lot 78. On March 21st, 2005, the Village Board entered into an annexation agreement with the Timber Trails subdivision developer. The annexation agreement allowed the developer to sell undeveloped lots to other builders, who would also be bound by the agreement's terms. On April 26, 2021, the Village Board approved the sale of 20 lots from the developer to McNaughton Development LLC, detailing special assessments and architectural requirements. A second agreement for the sale of 7 additional lots to McNaughton Development was approved on August 14, 2023, with similar provisions. On August 7, 2024, McNaughton Development requested the sale of Lot 78. At our October 2nd committee meeting, we reviewed this agreement and recommended advancing it to the Village Board for discussion. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, very good. Our next item on my agenda is we've also discussed the 2025 budget discussion. During our committee meeting, we started preliminary discussions about the budget. Conversations will continue at our next meeting in November. And then my final report item is the market assessment update. On March 26, 2007, the Village Board approved a downtown market assessment. This assessment identified market demand for retail in downtown Western Springs and provided strategies to enhance its sales potential. As part of the 2024 fiscal year, the Community Development Department budgeted to update the assessment. Community Development has received a proposal from Tesca Associates Incorporated to update the assessment, which includes stakeholder interviews, an inventory of existing conditions, and recommendations for attracting business and visitors. The findings will inform policy decisions and support economic development initiatives. Our committee reviewed the proposal at our October 2nd meeting and recommended advancing it for Village Board consideration. If the Village Board concurs with the recommendation of the committee, then the action can be taken on the resolution on the omnibus portion of the meeting to accept the proposal. Does anybody have any questions with that one? Okay, then that concludes my report for tonight.
All right, very good. Thanks so much. Moving on to properties and recreation, trustee Avakian.
Thank you. We have discussed a proposal for a security gate to be installed by the Public Works building. It's budgeted for a total of $282,000, and it was we approved the use of this, the funding for it under our resolution 22-2687. So we thought it was a grand idea, increasing security and all the good things. Anyone have any questions?
Are people just driving through Public Works?
About that, but actually, yes, we do
No
actually
way.
have quite a number of people who find their way into the Public Works facility, both in vehicles and on cars. We also have had, unfortunately, a number of people who've dumped on our site. They're either bringing in trash or other like construction materials, and they'll dump them either in our back lot or in our dumpster. So we're looking to just kind of improve the overall security for our building. We used to have a gate out there a number of years ago, tied in a little bit with the reconfiguration that we've done with the Public Works facility, and also the tollway project. We removed that gate, things were moving around, so if you guys probably don't know how we had it configured before, but we moved all of our material storage bins to the south side of the lot to get more easy access for our equipment. It was just safer, there was more room. We also, a number of years ago, we used to have underground fuel storage tanks that were near where that entrance is. Those had to be pulled out due to age and the state fire marshal rules. So we put a new fuel tank system in, it's above ground now. It went into a different location lot. So there's a lot of things that have changed over the past couple of years, and now we're kind of closing the loop on some of these, getting the security gate back in place.
That sounds good. I'm surprised so many people go through.
You know, I'm not sure, but we think that maybe people think they can get onto the tollway perhaps by going down to the end of Hillgrove. I'm not aware of like Google Maps or Apple Maps driving people that way, but we have people kind of wander
I
through.
think some people coming out of the theater think exactly that they don't have to go all the way back up and around.
Up to Ogden,
There's
right.
A bridge or a tunnel or something.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard that,
Yeah.
people saying that.
And with the clearing that the tollway team has done, you can actually see some of the road through our lot now. So maybe that's what they think they can get onto.
Overall, it sounds like a good
Yeah.
improvement, just all around.
Yeah, it's something that we need to do overall, and it'll help. One of the larger projects we're doing with a lot of our facilities is really reassessing the security on a lot of them, and this is one of the projects we're doing at a number of locations to kind of address some of those concerns that we've kind of just taken for granted, I think, a little bit in the past.
Yeah, that sounds like a smart idea.
Any other questions? We also discussed our preliminary budget discussions. Nothing really surprising. We have huge expenses in our little committee, but some talk about replacing some vehicles and some other things that are going to be happening. We'll discuss that more at the next meeting. Oh, and I have one more thing for the rec center. The Recreation Department is holding its annual Halloween Hoopla event next Friday, October 25th from 4 to 6:30 at the rec center. Children will enjoy games, trick-or-treating in Safety Village, a craft table, and a bounce house. Pre-registration is required at wsprings.recdesk.com or call the Recreation Center's front desk for more information. And the Grand Avenue Community Center Gym Improvement Project is underway. The old equipment has been removed from the walls, and the walls have received a fresh coat of paint. Currently, the lighting is being replaced with a brighter and more efficient lighting system. The project is still on pace to be completed by the end of the year.
Great.
And that completes my report.
Thank you very much. All right, Public Health and Safety, Trustee Lewis.
Thank you, President Rudolph. Just want to mention that the fire department hosted a very successful open house last Monday. They had over 200 people stop by, fire truck rides, firefighting demonstrations, a great event with great attendance, and they were very pleased with the result.
Great. It's a great event.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, and finally, Public Works and Water, Trustee Fink.
All right, thank you. So the first item is the Springdale Stormwater Improvement Intergovernmental Agreements. So Public Works was recommending approving the IGAs with both the Park District and the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. It's for the Park District because that's where all of this water from Springdale is hopefully will be sent to the Park District with the goal of the parks being out of commission for only 1 year. And the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District because they are providing a $1 million grant to fund this project. Any questions?
I think this is a really important development, and I'm really pleased that we have come to kind of our final agreements on this with the Park District. We all know this is a really significant flooding area in the village, and this is also in our capital infrastructure plan, one of our biggest risk areas, right, is that of flooding. So very pleased, thanks to staff and also thanks to the Park District and to the Park Board for working with us to come to an agreement on that. I think that everybody was happy with. We all serve the same residents, and just pleased that we came to an agreement on this. And also great news too, of course, with the MWRD grant there too. Thank you.
All right, the second item is Burlington Avenue project construction hours. So last month, we voted to give Ellen the ability to extend the work hours to start at 7 a.m. That's been working very well, that the local businesses wouldn't mind if we started occasionally at 5 a.m. So it's not every single day won't start at 5 a.m., but it'll give Ellen the ability, like if they're gonna close the roads, that we can start earlier to affect the local businesses a little less. Any questions? All right, the next item is the lead service line replacement. So as we know, this is like one of our long-term projects. So Public Works Committee is recommending to approve the ordinance to allow the village to borrow $705,000 to replace 42 lead service lines. So the plan is that this will go to bid this this winter and start work in the spring of 2025.
Trustee Fink, can I share just one little bit of info?
Please
That
do.
we talked about this at the Infrastructure Commission last week, but last Thursday, we also got notice that the IEPA announced that the loans that are going to be occurring for this fiscal year projects are going to be at 0% interest. So
Nice.
we just got that information last week. So we're hoping that would continue going forward, but at least for this coming year's fiscal year project, that's the plan.
And this, again, this is just 1 year at a time, right?
Correct. We have to submit each year for an IEPA loan for that project year.
Okay. And so this would, over time, this would take us 14 years.
Yeah, so as part of our project plan that we submitted, I guess, almost 2 years ago now, we have 15 years to complete all of our work. There has been a recent announcement too from the federal EPA that time window might actually change to 10 years. Superintendent Dergowski and I are actually attending the IPA regulatory update tomorrow. We'll get a report on that to find out what that new information is. If that time frame changes, we're hoping that there's going to be some additional federal funding to help pay for some of that, if that does happen, but more information to come, I think, on that.
Okay, that's good news. Again, this is one of the unfunded mandates, so.
Correct.
Appreciate the 0% loan, but that would be terrific if we could look to some sort of federal funding in the future. Great, thanks.
How many lines was that for 705,000?
42.
42.
Those are homes primarily?
Correct, all residential lines.
Next item is the monthly water system update. There's 2 items. The first is, like we're speaking of, is the lead service lines. So the first phase of the 42 lines will be replaced in spring of 2025. Every year, we're gonna have to apply for new loans. And Director Super, maybe you can discuss this more, but we were considered an affluent community, and we were 3rd from the bottom of getting loans. So going forward, it might be harder to get loans every single year. Next item is water meter replacements. So we're finishing up the water meter replacements. All the businesses and residents have had flyers dropped off their house, phone calls to their house. They have until October 8th to get this all scheduled, and if it's not scheduled, the village allows a $750 fine or possibly shutting off their water. But for the most part, water meters have been replaced, but there's still a couple outstanding. The next item is the water treatment plant condition assessment. So part of the infrastructure plan was to review the reverse osmosis plant. The plant is 13 years old now, and it has a lifespan of 25 years. So the thought is start looking at it now to see what kind of core parts that have to be replaced. And so one of the ones they're looking at is the amide system to remove iron from the water before it hits the plant. The membranes and filters are getting harder to find and more expensive, so they're looking for another system to replace the iron other than that amide system. So they're recommending, $150,000 was budgeted. They're recommending to work with Carollo Engineering. Carollo worked with Baxter and Woodman when the RO plant was first online, and they are experts in membrane filtration. So hopefully they will give us another idea other than the amide filters. And the last thing is the 2025 budget, and that is something that we have discussed, and we'll give more as we get more information. And that's all I have.
All right, very good, thanks very much. All right, we have a few of these items are going to the omnibus tonight. The Illinois state statutes allow a municipality to collectively vote on a group of ordinances, resolutions, and other motions, such as awards of contract, appointments, etc. This is known as an omnibus vote. All the items contained on the omnibus vote list have been previously discussed by the President and Board of Trustees on at least one occasion and often on several occasions. By placing them on the omnibus vote list, a single vote may be taken to approve them. A trustee may remove any item from the list and have it discussed and voted on separately prior to the omnibus vote. Is there any such request tonight? All right. Hearing none. Trustee Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President Rudolph. I move the following ordinances, resolutions, and motions as contained on the meeting agenda for October 14th, 2024, be adopted and/or approved under an omnibus vote. Agenda item number 1, ordinance number 24-3218, an ordinance approving budget amendments transfer over $10,000 to the fiscal year 2024 operating budget in the Downtown South TIF Fund. Agenda item number 2, motion to waive the normal hours of construction for the Burlington Avenue Water Main and Streetscape Improvements Project for heavy equipment and other tools pursuant to subsection 5-2-3 limitations on construction noise, work benefiting public accepted, of the Western Springs Village Code to allow construction activities for the project to commence at 5:00 a.m. on Mondays through Saturdays, and to grant the village manager the discretion to allow for project construction activities to be performed after the evening hours on Monday through Friday, as listed in subsections 5-2-3 and 5-2-3 B, in order to minimize the impact of such construction activities on local businesses and to accelerate the completion of the project. Agenda item number 3, motion to appoint Ted Pappas to the Recreation Commission for a 3-year term expiring on September 23rd, 2027. Under new business, resolution number 24-2842, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of an intergovernmental agreement and an easement agreement for the construction and maintenance of stormwater drainage improvements at Springdale Park, Village of Western Springs, and the Western Springs Park District. Agenda item number 5, resolution number 24-2843, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Western Springs and the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, it's MWRD, of Greater Chicago for the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the Springdale drainage improvements in Western Springs, Illinois. Agenda item number 6, resolution number 24-2844, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a consulting agreement between the Village of Western Springs and Tesca Associates Incorporated for the performance of a downtown Western Springs market assessment.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. May we have roll call vote, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Bacon.
Aye.
Trustee Penn.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Naraki.
Aye.
Trustee Terrell.
Aye.
President Rudolph.
Aye.
The ordinances, resolutions, and motions contained in the agenda of October 11th, 2024 are hereby adopted or approved.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to reports. I will begin with a couple of upcoming events to remind people about. First, this Wednesday here at Village Hall from 4 to 6, we're having an Investing in Infrastructure open house. Join the staff for a discussion about the overall infrastructure needs, I think, which we've discussed a few times, but they will have some nice boards and displays and just be willing to talk through those and also describe and discuss how referendums are typically used as a source of funding for these essential needs, along with the roads, as we've done in the past. But it'll be a nice opportunity for anybody to stop in. It's from 4 to 7, again, this Wednesday here at Village Hall. The next event I'm pretty excited about. This Saturday, we're having, anybody's welcome to join us at the Opry for coffee with the first responders and the village president. That will be this Saturday, again at the Opry, from 9 to 11. And we're there to talk about anything people want to talk about, have some coffee, have some pastries, join us for a casual conversation. So if any of you would like to come, we'd love to see you there too. We can all enjoy a nice get-together this weekend, on this lovely fall weekend. Finally, I want to just continue to remind everybody our businesses remain open during the construction. I think it's been going pretty well, and I think we've been doing a really nice job of getting the word out. I'm seeing a lot of posts on social media and a lot of people really just kind of commending how the overall effort is going, and that it keeps everybody safely getting to the businesses, and it seems like we're getting pretty good response from the businesses. So thanks to everybody for that. And that concludes my report. Village Manager Bear.
Yes, and that's a great lead-in to the first item I have for my report. The village is going to be hosting our very own pumpkin hunt in our downtown businesses to bring more foot traffic in between October 18th through the 31st. Residents and visitors to our village are invited to spot the white pumpkin at a local business and win a sweet treat. They can also register for a chance to win some whiz bucks. So we're very excited to do that. It's 2 weeks between the 18th and the 31st, and the white pumpkins are adorable. They have our village logo on them. And we look forward to seeing a lot of foot traffic in all of our businesses in the downtown. My second item is regarding leaf collection. Most of you are already seeing leaves down in your yards. Leaf collection from the village begins on Monday, October 21st. Leaves should not be put out until Saturday, October 19th for the start of leaf collection. Again, this is leaves only, no branches, lawn clippings, flowers, no pumpkins. We are still having our pumpkin smash, so for those people who are looking for a place to compost their pumpkins, the pumpkin smash event is the first week of November. I think it's on the 7th, maybe? I'm not positive of that date. What is it? The 9th? The 9th, November 9th, thank you. And then the leaf collection will go on through the village until the week of December 2nd. All leaves must be out by December 1st. There is a really nice schedule that the Municipal Services and Public Works Group developed for residents to kind of better understand when their final leaf pickups will be. And a reminder that LRS does collect yard waste through November 25th. Those need to be stickered brown bags or in an LRS yard waste cart. Again, I just want to remind people that with the rains that we get this time of year, they should really avoid leaves being raked into the area near the inlets on their street, and making sure those areas are clear when they do become clogged. So just looking forward to another good year of our Public Works team doing such a great job. And we will have a street sweeper come through after the final week to kind of clean everything up and dress it up. Again, just as we did last year. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Village Attorney Jarusik.
I do not have a report in open session, but I do in closed session, so I would ask that we entertain a motion to recess to close session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, which is Open Meetings Act, Section 2C1. And we would have that, make that motion second and vote on it. And then also I would just indicate that the plan is not to take any final action when we come back from closed session. The discussion will happen all in closed session. No final action will be taken on the matter in closed session. We would adjourn the closed session and come back to open session merely for the purposes of closing out this combined workshops / special board meeting.
That would be my motion, Attorney Jarusik. Thank you. I would have a motion to proceed to closed session for the purposes of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body pursuant to 5 Illinois Compiled Statute 120/2, paren C, paren 1. That'd be my motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Trustee Bacon.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Noraki.
Aye.
Trustee Tara.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, very good. We're adjourned to closed session.
have the recorder.